Okay, hello. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Gabriel Diaz. I'm a engineer in asphalt engineering, which focuses in power systems, protection and control of grid substations. That's pretty much it. I've been in the industry for 2 years and a half now. I currently work for under as a with a contractor company that works for Avangrid in New England.
Would you like to give what your day in the life as an electrical engineer is like?
Sure. I mean, typically, um, when you are just started, right, in the industry, you kind of touch different type of projects, and as you progress, you kind of start to taking more of a lead role within your company. So, for instance, I have right now I'm working probably in 2 to 3, maybe 4 projects at the same time, but different deadlines and working with different teammates within my company. So typically we start with a meeting, quick meeting, 15 minutes, just to touch bases where everyone is and if they need help with questions, especially engineers that just started, or sometimes we have interns. So if needed, we will use these resources also. So I would say a meeting, then check emails, and then get going on whatever needs to be done that day.
Okay.
Mhm.
In your time working as an electrical engineer, what is the most stressful experience that you have?
I would say deadlines. You know, uh, contracted like whoever contracts you, they don't realize the time or effort a project takes, and usually PMs, project managers, since they're not engineers, they just all the time try to accelerate, the deliverables and whatsoever. So depending on the project and how complex it is, I would say, when having the deliverables ready for any type of stage the project is at would be the most stressful. Can't remember a specific project from the top of my head, but I would say that's what stresses me the most out.
Okay. How do deadlines in your job impact your stress level?
Um, I would say it's pretty impactful. Um, Not on my personal life though. I've learned how to separate my personal life and work life. Um, Sometimes, like I said, because of meeting deadlines, you need to stay a little longer past your 8 hours of work. Sometimes we've hit, I don't know, 10 p.m. at night, 11 p.m. at night, and when you go home, it's hard to disconnect, thinking of, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, and whatsoever. So it's the disconnection part of the engineering life with your personal life where it's tricky. But I think it's doable.
Okay. Do you experience any sort of anxiety about performing tasks on time?
Yes. Yes. Especially when you just start, right? You're fresh out of college, so you think you know everything, but you realize you don't know anything, right? The electrical engineering world is so big that you kind of know basics of theories and whatsoever, but when you're in an industry like power systems, um, your job, it for instance, my job, right, is in charge of making sure that every substation in the grid is well protected and whatsoever, and that nothing fails. Knowing that your deliverables, right, are meant to protect something that will affect so many people in an area, uh, it makes you a little anxious when you don't know the information, right? But if you have a good team, they will lead you, they will guide you, they will give you the resources to learn. the right information and apply it. And also we do internal reviews before submitting to the client. But there's always that anxiety of like, okay, I want to be a good engineer, so I want that the internal reviews have little to no comments, and it's I guess the anxiety comes down to the type of engineer I want to be, the type of name I want to put of myself out there. I think that's what makes me a little more antsy. And once a station gets commissioned, anxiety is on its peak because they're commissioning it, so everything needs to work. And if it fails, then the field engineer is just like, hey, something went wrong, or you don't want to burn down any equipment, a transformer, something like this. This is expensive equipment, and it also is your name out there on the field. So.
All right. Has there been a time where there has been any pressure on your performance while completing a task? Like an example would be time constraints.
Yes, actually, I'm currently going through that. I was given my first lead project, and the project, due to, I don't know, timing of Angrade or whatsoever, started a month and a half later. But they want everything done by December. We're we're almost in December, so Uh, I'm a lead in a owner's engineer project. That means we're a third party that reviews someone else's work. So it's like filters, they do up here. And I'm the one that reviews someone else's work. And when you're in that situation, right, you're the person that somewhat has like a higher level knowledge to review something, and telling a different company that it's not yours, something is wrong, or you should suggest this type of protection scheme for certain things. And the project manager has not been very helpful. Uh, Typically up here it's standardized to have 10 days of review depending on the size of the project. We had to agree on a 5-day review, and so on. So aside of how accelerated this project is, I have other projects. So my performance as my first lead needs to be nice, but I can't, like stop paying attention to my other stuff. So I would say currently that project has been a little tough.
How many projects are you managing on a like weekly basis?
I would say two. I would say two. One of them, it's more of a all year type of situation project, but Um, it's that one is easier for me because the complexity of it is not as bad. It's more regarding modeling in this software we use where we do most of our studies and stuff like that. And we only that team is only 3 people, but I've been working there in that project since I want to say an intern, so I kind of know my basis around it. It's easier to hit deadlines with that one. We get a month per submittal, but and this one that is the new one, that's the one I'm leading. So if I do give work out to someone else, I try to stay on top of their tasks and just the key here is to have everyone on the same page. And and sometimes that doesn't go your way because you get pulled to do something else. And I guess that's where leading, managing a project, can be fun. Yeah.
Does stress impact your work and make you want to take a break or push on to finish the task?
It's a little bit of both, I would say. I would consider myself a person that works at the same level, under stress or not. Um uh and when it comes down to that, it's about performing, like you feel like all the eyes are on you. my superiors or my supervisor, for instance, will be constantly coming, hey, how we doing with this project, like, and that's where it gets a little stressful because sure, I'm aware of deadlines. I'm aware of we need to submit at this specific date, but we we have a we have a good culture in my company where quality comes first. So if need be, we can always be like, hey, we're not going to be able to make Friday. We'll send it Monday, and that involves working on a Saturday type situation. So so yeah, I mean, my performance, it depends. Sometimes, yeah, I want to take a break, uh, but can't do. You need to you need to complete your job, and that's why taking advantage of holidays or or take a vacation will be good if you feel too consumed by your work.
Okay. What coping strategies do you use during your work? These could be taking a break, asking for help, or just pushing on into the task.
I do I do a little of the three of those options. Like I said, we have a very good culture in my company. So all my colleagues, we're colleagues, and outside of work, we're friends. So it's always good to go to your resources in the company, people that have been longer than you in the industry, that have way more experience. So that's something I do. I do ask for help. There's nothing wrong in asking for help. Makes your life easier. You don't know everything in life. Do I take breaks during the day? Maybe I go out for a walk type situation, to get a breather mostly. Uh, and then what was the third one? Sorry.
Pushing on into the task.
Yeah, and then you just have to do it. And it's to get done. Like it, sometimes y- you understand that the professional world, we're talking money, right? Every hour spent on a project, every time a project gets delayed, someone is winning or losing money. So sometimes you just need to commit and do an effort for your company, for your colleagues. Like if you do care about your company and your colleagues, always want to push it. You always want to get there, and that at the end of the day will create a good reputation that they can count on you. So it all depends on the situation, I would say.
Okay. Are there any habits that you implement into your schedule to help prevent burnout?
Yes, resting. Um, you know, uh, I'm an electrical engineer that mostly is in the office, so I'm always on screens and whatsoever. So I try to push aside my phone for a little bit. I've been on the screen 8 hours a day already. Um, I don't know, exercising is some of it that takes all that stress out immediately. And just hanging out with friends also, like go and have a drink or have dinner with your friends after. Uh, I would say some type of mechanisms I use. Yeah.
Okay. Does teamwork or supervisor support influence any stress level, or does it help you with your task and work?
It's both, I would say. I mean, your supervisor is your leader, right? He I want to think that everyone relies on their supervisor at some level. Maybe sometimes would be on a technical level. And it's nice when your supervisor has time available for you to walk you through the process or do some certain of, um, analysis together of the project, which we typically do when we're about to, start a project. We have a kickoff meeting where, we go through all the things that we need to get completed and how are we going to target the project. However, when you're a supervisor is stressed, uh, I think of it in a way of like, okay, his stress right now, he has 15 years in the industry. If he's stressed, it's because something, is maybe not wrong, but there's a lot of pressure on us to, for this situation to be able to stress him. Also he's a human, right? Um, so in both situations, like with his help or him being stressed or not, the outcome needs to be the same: quality work and meeting deadlines, completing the project. Definitely, his influence is very impactful, but it could be in both ways. Maybe I'm stressed one day, but he will calm me down, or he's stressed, right? Then I'll get my job done so that both of us are not stressed. And I think that's the route. Most of the times it happens that way.
Okay. Did your engineering education in university prepare you for the stress that you were going to experience on the job, or did you learn everything else on the job?
No, definitely college helped. I mean, when you're in college, the workload is 300% higher, right? And sometimes you're taking three, four classes, a couple of labs, and you have homework for every class, and you have a test for every class and whatsoever. Um, so I guess in the aspect of managing your time and being able to complete tasks, it did help. However, when you're in a professional level, the margin of error somewhat is limited, but at the same time, you don't feel by yourself type situation. You have colleagues you can rely on, and most likely, if there's like a significant technical error, it will get caught internally, and that gives some type of relief. I would say college created the base for my performance, and then the professional world is shaping me and to understand that everything you put out there, has importance for just for me or my company, but for my community, right?
Yeah, suggestions that you would have for future engineers on how to handle their stress in the field, such as coping strategies that you use.
Right. So ask questions, right? Don't think you know everything, or if something has you stuck, then just you're give it a shot. Think through the process. Don't rely. So that is the tricky part. You want to ask questions, but you don't want to rely only on your colleagues. You need to learn, right? So limit your resources. Go into the manuals. Go into the textbooks. These things are things that exist. It's not like back in college where you had to learn every formula. You had to know all the theory behind how something worked. In this case, you have the formulas, you have the theory, you can read it, apply it, and so on. If it's too complicated and it's something you've never seen before, reach out to a senior level engineer, to a principal level engineer, to your supervisor. Maybe a colleague did this before. Look for a go by, something that was done before. Similarly, that would 100% take a bit of stress out of you. Always have a chance to communicate with your colleagues, how to ask them how their day is going, just to disconnect a little bit out of work. Take breaks, go for a walk if your company allows it, or just enjoy your lunch in a different way. you know, I would say always stay looking out for information, you know, keep updating yourself, keep learning all the new stuff. Join the IEEE organization. They're always, putting out good reports, good studies they've been working on. Um, I think staying resourceful, looking for help, and taking breaks is coping mechanisms that will always help you to reduce stress. I I want to say, I don't know, I'm talking for me, right? I think as an engineer, our personality tries to tend to lean on on this idea that we know everything or that we want to have everything perfectly set. Math is that way. Math is perfect. So that's kind of the personality you gain through the years. You want to always be right. You want that your work is always be right. So it- I wouldn't. I mean, yes, go for it, but just you know learn learn in a way that you're not the smartest person out there. That will take a lot of stress out of you, because trust me, you're going new engineers are going to meet so many good engineers that the only thing you can think of is I want to be like that. I want to be that person who people come to and ask questions and so on. But I think that's the best. I think that's the things that have worked for me lately. Who knows what happens in the future, but that's what have worked.
Okay. Do you have any suggestions for aspiring engineers to what they should be doing in college?
Yes, college is very good about putting putting out events or groups, to improve your knowledge. I would say to join any type of engineering clubs related. Um, that way you're doing something else aside of what you're seeing in class, and probably you could put in practice the knowledge you have gained. Um, yeah, join clubs, join an honor society if your grades are doing good enough, right? um, Always keep an eye out for events like career fairs that are coming, right? Say there's a type of go and talk to different type of companies, see what work they like, what work they do, what work they do. I mean, and see what you like, see what your interest is, and get and try a little of everything. Also, like I said before, electrical engineering. It's very branched out. There's a lot of things out there that you could focus on. Um, in my case, I really like the power industry. There's always electronics. There's always so many different things. Keep an eye out. Try a little of everything. See what you feel. Because in college, you're in the period of formation, right? You're getting a feeling of everything. And if you start, in your early years in college, and as you progress and you have tried a little of everything, then once you graduate, you don't have that incognitive like, okay, what is my life going to be like? What I want to do for a living and whatsoever. Yeah, you're an engineer, right? But there's so many things you can do, and always try to find something that you actually love, that you actually care about. And like I said, just limit your resources in college, and then just try a little of everything, see what's good for you.
All right. And finally, do you have any last advice for college students on managing academic stress?
Yes, don't procrastinate. That's the worst thing you can do. Take your time. It's like anything in life, right? If you take your time, you're going to have a nice, smooth outcome. But if the test is tomorrow and you're studying the night before, trust me, 2 months of information, one stuck in one night. So take your time. Don't procrastinate. And it depends, right? There's different type of people and how they learn. If it works for you to do study groups, then do study groups. If you are good just by studying by yourself, then sure. I think time is the key, for to reduce stress, because stress to me in college was the low work, like how much work I had. But then I would be stressful when I had poor administration of my time. I think that's the best advice I could give. And I'm sure a lot of students, will relate. One day before studying, or one day trying to finish a project or a homework, and sleeping, right? If you're studying the night before, I'm sure you're not even going to sleep. Your mind is not clear. When you go into the exam, you're a zombie basically. So take your time, plan out your hours, treat it like if it was a job. We get months for a project. Say we started the last month, we wouldn't be able to achieve anything. That will be it for me.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And any last remarks that you have?
No. Enjoy. Enjoy. College is a beautiful time, you know. Uh, get to meet a lot of good engineers, people in general, and take your time. I know at some points during college, there's always that big question mark of what am I going to do in the future? Am I going to like what I'm currently learning? And just enjoy it. You know,
All right.
that'll be that'll be it. Yeah.
Thank you.